Hi everyone. Today is 20th of January. Um, as usual, we'll start with low time frame. This month is mixed of everything. As far as price action is concerned, it's not so friendly. Starting from this month, price has been going down. Now, a lot of euphoria we had in the market from ETF, and now everything is changed because Grayscale is selling. Nobody, not everybody understood what is happening. Um, I don't cover the fundamental, but in case there is any question from anyone, I'll just touch base what I learned. Basically, the fees of Grayscale, the Grayscale fund was there. They issued shares, and BTC was the collateral. So what happened is their fund fee was around 2.5% and per annum. And when this new ETF have they launched with a very, very small fee, I think under 1%, half a percent or something like that. So what investors have started doing is they started dumping Grayscale stocks. So once they do, they have to sell the underlying BTC. And they have crazy amount of BTC. What I learned is 600,000 something, 615, 615,000 something. Immensely large position. So, and they sold, I think, 10% of them, 52K or something like that, based on what I'm reading on social media. So, but essentially, it is because the people are dumping the shares and they had a in premium, so they gain around 40% or more. So they are taking advantage, and what they're trying to do is they want to move into ETF. So the what we are seeing is there's a lot of volatility in the market because of that. Now the thing is, despite of so much of sell off, I think there is some kind of buyout as well, because otherwise this market would have crashed badly. And if you look at technically, this is what I love about technical analysis. It's not about my work. Anyone who does it properly would come up with this kind of level, more or less, in my opinion, because this science is universal. So if you find out the key, you will also come up with same number or similar number, or at least similar range, I would say, if not the same exact dollar number. And so when I talk about TA, it's not about my TA. TA as a subject I talk about. So that's what I love about it, that it provides immense clarity. So this level was known to us. So that means we know that such level has to be watched out, not as in crash, because when it touches, you cannot figure out it's going to be crash or some kind of consolidation. Um, there is always some consolidation, sometimes like here, some here, but then it moves up and then retest this level and then moves up to the next level. That's what we have seen it. Some pause and then consolidation and then goes up. And it's always about some range. There are going to be spikes at a lower time frame when you look at it. When you track at a higher level, which we do, then you don't see that much noise. But the main thing is these are milestones. Each milestone tells where are you in the journey in terms of price action. So that's what it indicates. The supports and resistance are one and the same thing. Just to reiterate, it's when the price is above that level, we call support. When the price is below the level, we call that as resistance. Both are the same thing. Essentially, in non-technical word, non-technical term, this the supports and resistance are nothing but congestion area. Exactly at that level or around that level, you expect some kind of congestion. Congestion means there is pull and push from buyer and seller. So it's like tug of war kind of situation where price is trying to decide where to go. Sometime, so there can be some kind of range sometimes, um, and the range can be large, like one resistance to another. Like for example, this is like range is more or less like from R4 to R5 kind of a range. So that is trading range sometimes, which I explained in last session. But essentially, um, around key, that's why I sometimes call key area or key level, because then there is no reference of support and resistance, because reference changes. For example, this was resistance, or for example, this is resistance right now. But once the price is somewhere here, the R4 range becomes the support. That's how it is. Like it's supported so many times here, as you could see. Um, yeah. So that's why it changes. So saying that this level is resistant is only true as long as the price is below that level. So I sometimes use the key level, because then it's not about support or resistance, but a level where price will get to decide where to go. And usually price hops, not hops in terms of like it's like a staircase, as I said, the staircase where the steps are not equal height, but different height. That's why the different key level has different distance in terms of price. The displacement is not the same. The distance is not the same. That's the only change, but that's how it works. And often we see that the price comes down to prior level, and sometimes the in the journey some corrections are like 10-15%. I don't want to give number, otherwise sometimes people stick to that number. Point is, the correction in Bitcoin, let's say, could be um, 2 to 5% range sometimes, which is like very minor one near resistance. Sometimes it's bigger, like up to 15% also, which is what we saw here. And when there is a bear trend, it could be larger. That we know 60 to 90%. These last time it was not even 90%, it was 65%, I believe. But yeah, not much. 60% roughly. So this is how it works. So the pullback correction is always there. It's always there. But I can broadly group into three, as I mentioned. Don't just take the percentage as it is. Just try to get a idea about it, that uh, 2 to 5% is one group in BTC, 15 to 20% is another group, and then larger, which is like 50% or higher, is another group. That's what these are the three main groups. And when the wave progresses, the minor ones are always there. And this medium kind of a category would come after a certain level, like what we saw when we zoom out. So we saw that medium category one here, this one you see, and then minor ones in between. And then this is another medium category one, right? Like this one. So this is what I mean. So this kind of consolidation. So how much was this? This is 22% drop, right? And let's look at this one. Maybe this is 15%. 17, 18, roughly, yeah, 18, let's say. But that's what I mean. 15-20% kind of a drop. So and and in between there are minor ones. So that these are healthy ones, to be honest, because then when they go through consolidation, they provide energy for the next level. However, one has to understand that when the medium becomes large, like minor can become medium and medium can become large. This is the broad understanding. So if you ask me from a TA point of view, even from seasoned traders point of view, this is what you may look for. Whether what the severity is from minor to medium and medium to severe kind of. Severe means 50% larger. So that's what we try to assess. And basically that also helps understanding the reversal. And because of this nature, absolute top is very difficult, to be honest. Finding absolute top is very difficult. So saying that 48K is the top is very difficult. But when it breaks below certain level, we can say this was the top, because then it is transitioning from medium category to severe one. You see, component. So and it is important that certain levels are identified, like I have it. It makes the life easy. And when I try to make things easy, it is not easy for normal people, but that's what my job is, and that's what I'm offering here, that I try to make it easy. And sometimes it is so easy that it is hard to believe, and mind wants something complicated. But that is very individual. There are two factors. One is one has to be experienced enough to understand that this is what this is how things work. And secondly, handling of their own mind, which is totally beyond anyone's control. That comes with experience only. There is no shortcut to it, in my opinion. That one trader sees enough, then he will understand that uh, these technical levels matter. And if you think a lot, it doesn't take you anywhere. As far as news are concerned, anyone who is following news, I would never say don't follow news. Follow news means read news, but not translate into trade. That's what I would say. Um, Not financial advice, but my experience, because there are two different things. Reading is fine, and because we are human, what happens is reading affects our mindset. We cannot put in silo that we read and do nothing. That's the only risk, because emotionally it can trigger emotions, and emotion could trigger something which we don't want. That's why everybody, if you have very strategic approach where you say, I'm reading it, okay, I'm also emotionally involved because I'm human, but somehow that somehow is up to you. I'm not driven by those news or emotions when it comes to trading. And the only way to do this is to have the level defined in your book or on your chart, that I'm not going to sell until this level is broken. I'm not going to buy until this level is broken, whatever, right? So that level of that kind of planning is needed. And if that person is able to follow the plan, idea is to follow a plan, then that person will have really good trading experience. And trading experience doesn't mean all happy events or happy experience, I would say. There are going to be challenging experience as well, where one gets out and gets in and so on. And for an example, yesterday I gave this warning level, and when I saw that it just dipped and touched this one and bouncing, I immediately posted, because I knew that somebody might be thinking, um, when it is closed, what should we interpret? So I posted. So that's what I do if you look at it. So there was just one sentence from my end, but probably that gives you a lot of help, or confidence, I would say. That would tell that, okay, now, okay, fine. I mean, situation is tricky, but it's not that it's gone situation or out of control situation. So I believe that is helping you. Otherwise, the levels are there. But that's what. So if I'm awake, I always do so in a tricky situation, because again, even if I give you this number 40550, it's not a magical number. The price can go here and there. And I think I explained this phenomenon that when the many stops are near the supports, what happens is there is slippage, cascading effect, like landslide. So the because of the land which is sliding from the top could actually, trigger other landslide. So it's similar phenomenon where the you don't want to get out at certain level, but because there is slippage, it takes you in. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you see that sometimes the levels are breached, penetrated, but you have to be calm and see that, if you're awake, of course, if I mean, this is my own style. If I'm awake, uh then I don't put stop, I put alert. And then see, when if I'm alerted, I see that it is really crashing, or it's really just touch and go kind of situation. um because of the reason I mentioned, that some kind there is slippage, and a lot of stops are at one place, and that's what happens. If this was the low and there was another low, so there would be many stops near this one. I'm sure. And because there are many stops, and many stops are market level stops, and the stops are market level, it can actually push the price all the way down. That's what happens. Even these spikes, you see, maybe it would have stopped here, but it because of that extra. So it takes extra sometime. So it's very, so this is your lowest reference point. I could have actually kept it below this one as well, but I kept with respect to this one, calculation point of view. But anyway, um, but the point is these are minor differences. This is not major difference. And another thing is usually the closing is important. 1 hour closing is important. So another thing is, um, yeah, this was like one dip and then next hour goes up. So one could wait for an hour and then try to see. Again, 1 hour is again not a magical number, but you will get to know that it is really going down. So, for example, if it is here, uh, going down, fine, it is here. Then you see, let's see how the hour ends. So if you look at this hour ends with this one, and then you see, okay, you know what, this is like only 20% down. It's not like a large candle here. Then I say, okay, let me see how the next hour comes. Uh, and then next hour starts with a boom. So then say, okay, you know what? I don't want to get out. That's how I would see here. This was perfect, as you could see. But because uh, low level traders, what they do when they see this kind of a drop, you see it had stopped actually. When you look at lower time frame, it had stopped here. And then there was one other one. But then people would put a lot of stops here. And when it comes down again, because of that stops, it sometimes makes another low. Yeah, so that's what I mean. So sometimes it's very tricky. So even if someone stops out, let's say, that's not a problem. But when someone sees that now there's a nice candle on a hourly like this, by just breaking below, then one can re-enter. Again, not financial advice, but I mean, it's this is what I would do. uh, because getting stopped out is not a problem. um Re-entry is very important, sometimes. So let's say if it goes down, further down, and if you stop out, fine. But then if it bounces, then and recovers, then it's not that. So I don't say false breakout and all those terms. I don't use it. There's nothing called false breakout. It's not that somebody is trying to do and by mistake, somebody's like, you're driving and you miss the turn, and you get a you end up with a longer route. It's not like that. The market is not a decision making it's something comes out of market, so you cannot say it's a false breakout. I don't personally use that term. So but yeah, sometimes it breaks the key level, goes down, and then factors which push the price up, which we don't care. But the idea is don't try to micromanage. So stops are required. If you stopped out, fine. If it recovers and goes above your stop, there's always re-entry, and then you're back in the game. Yeah, you will do something for the fees and all. That's part of the game, because if you don't stop and it continues going down, you regret that, yeah, I should have gone, I should have exited, and so on. So paying something for fees is totally okay, and that's not always a major factor. So these are a few points from a trading beyond TA. This is totally beyond TA. And as you know that we are not expanding opportunity channel. So, and I have shared so many things so far. I'll continue sharing whatever I know, whatever little I know. And I don't know how long we'll do, right? Because there's always end to something. And because there is some kind of new form comes in. So it's not that I'll be out of this line or business, but the shape will different. Anyone who aligns with that shape and form would be with me. But yeah, we'll continue to change something based on situation. So this format may not last for years for sure, because the goals are different, situation is different. So, but as long as I run, I try to contribute in best possible way. But my goal is that one should experiment sometime, even dry run, and try to simulate like I'm doing right at 1 hour, and try to see how it behaved, and try to learn and apply some techniques that I share, and that the goal is to improve each day. That's it. Don't expect miracles to start with, but I'm sure with, so as you make mistake, we make that as a rule. Find out why the mistake was made, and that becomes your rule. Best practices, you may say. And so the diary becomes your rule book. If there is, so there has to be honest attempt, and in an up improvement point of view, um change point of view, then only it's possible. So whatever I say, consider that as my experience, of course, but then you see if it can help in your experience, and ultimately your experience matter. Ultimately that matters. Anyway, so coming back to our chart, so this was just a, again, annoying spike. But this is something we discussed last time, that there is higher high and the lows are constant. So very different pattern. When there's no, this is like a mirror image of ascending triangle, sort of, very weird kind of, like, usually, I mean, hard to depict. It's not even triangle. It's crazy. But yeah, if I draw this much, then it's kind of triangle. If I draw this, only this much, but it's not pretty. It's little undefined kind of. So I would depict something like this, which makes more sense to me, to be honest. Like this. I don't want to name anything, because they, what should I say? But I think this is just to give you an idea. I'll just make it bolder, so you get the idea. There is no shape in trading view for this one, unfortunately. But I'm just making it up, because that's how it is. You see, this is the area under the image. If I make it, let me make the same color, so you can relate it in a better way. Oh, I hope I'm making sense here. So this is your upper boundary, which is depicting through this arch, and this is your lower boundary depicting with this horizontal line. I hope it makes sense now. I'm trying to connect as many points, so don't worry if it I'm keeping some spikes outside of this. Idea is to see show that this is the line which is kind of a base. Don't get confused with this warning line. It's the same thing, few dollars here and there. When I am drawing, it is not about dollar number. Remember, it is about the pattern that I'm trying to um, highlight here. So when you look at this kind of pattern, so what is happening? It is underlying price range is expanding. You see, so to me, this is on edge. So that's why we have to continue watching. But there is no threat because there was a bounce. But if it comes down to this level again, then there is threat for sure. And possibly there can be a breakdown as well. As there is bounce, volume is also decent and it's stabilizing here. We can, so probably it will wait for Monday because that's what it has been doing. More and more Wall Street guys come in into this one now with ETF, even more Wall Street folks. You know what? That means Saturday, Sunday is going to be a little cool for silent for BTC. Maybe some alts could move or sometimes some, but it is you. I think you will clearly see the difference in terms of price action on weekends as because when because the fundamental factors will be driven by those big guys, which I don't like, to be honest. Um, when Sailor was buying so much or when Grayscale was buying so much, I never felt comfortable because it doesn't make sense. These people having 500,000 kind of opportunity, this is insane. I can understand Satoshi initially had to mine and had it. That's understandable. He had to kickstart, so it's okay. But and he hasn't sold, so there is no complaint. But uh, these guys are selling it. So that's like even Tesla, Elon had sold. People got happy, but he sold later on. So anyone who buys a lot to me is not a good idea. It is good only if it is distributed because at least they will not try to sell in bulk. Because when price goes down, especially in a major way, when positions are sold uh, with big numbers, so that's why I don't like it. And also, it doesn't make sense to have few people again. Otherwise, it's the same story, different asset, same story. That top 1% will rule the world. But yeah, I mean, money always is like that. Eventually, this is crypto is no longer the same. When it started, the wealth was pretty distributed, but I think it is more getting concentrated with big guys. There's another reason because when the price goes up, what happens is uh, affordability also goes down for the normal people, average people, and only big people could buy because let's say price, how many people can buy one Bitcoin? To be honest, in this world, very few people in the developed world. Forget about developing world. No one. I mean, normal people, middle class cannot buy one Bitcoin. It's too much. It's too much for most of the people. So that's what happens is when the price goes up, the affordability also goes down, and that's why they still could have it. But in terms of percentage, the wealthy people would have more share, and the things are not going to be different with Bitcoin, in my opinion. It's already happening, and we can see that. Anyway, so that's my thing, my thought on concentration of wealth, which is which is not going to be different with Bitcoin or crypto compared to what people used to say that this is regular people's money. I don't buy that argument. It is not going to happen. Wealthy will remain healthy, and in fact, they'll become more wealthier. That's how it is. And we have this tool, so our attempt is to make enough wealth and take advantage of this. So which I mentioned, the point I mentioned, I'm changing the topic and I'm digressing for purpose because just related that everything is pricey here. Everything is overrated to me, but we take advantage. So idea is to get out when the trend is broken. There is no sentiment. There is no attachment saying, "Oh, this is going to change the world," or "This is going to be." Yeah, I mean, it's not going to change the world. I'm telling you, this is product. These are technology. I mean, change the world means it's not going to make poor wealthier. Um, you have to be smart. Then only you can be wealthier, in my opinion. Otherwise, most of the people will be knocked out of this game. And I've seen in my friend circle and so many people. Uh, First of all, they are now afraid because the price is so high, and they're interested, but they're afraid. That's the thing. Uh, and I believe that we this is the last cycle. This is my firm belief at this moment. You can say speculation, that's fine. But I have my logical argument. This kind of assets, whatever we see 100x, 1000x, I don't think that will happen in next cycle. So this cycle is still going on. So this is likely to be the last cycle where we'll see 100x kind of a thing. So then it's not, it doesn't mean the asset will not grow. Asset will grow, but they'll grow very slowly. In fact, if you look at the BTC, if I may digress, uh, and a monthly, it is slowing down. Let me show you quickly since we're talking about, and we had talked about, but this is just to reiterate. When you look at this wave, this is near vertical. Then this is slow down. It's look at the angle is changing. Then this is another slowdown. You see the angle is even flatter. This is even slowed down, and this is even slower than what we had here currently. I don't think this is going to be like this, as many people think. I think this is going to slow down even further like this and go flatter and flatter like this. And then it will reach to its saturation, its plateau, so to speak. Because this cannot go, I mean, so it could grow, but not like this. So you clearly see the arch. This arch is there because it's slowing down as an asset in last 16 years. So this is my technical reason. And there's another fundamental reason is when there is more participation, it slows down. Like the river, when it starts, it has pace, it has momentum, and it is very violent at the origin. But as it comes down to mountains, it slows down eventually. It gets its plateau. That's how, I mean, that is very different analogy where there is end, definite end. I'm not saying in this case there will be definite end, um, but a river without end but what I'm trying to say is slows down, gets bigger. In terms of trading, what happens is when there are more participants, the volatility reduces. We don't see the pump. Second, another second fundamental reason is when the regulations kick in. As you see, regulation is getting more and more. When the regulations kick in, then the fraud pumping goes away, and then because accounts are more transparent and auditable, so you cannot just bring few million and pump the market. Yeah, it can happen with some coins, but I'm talking about large coin. There are always some scheme where unregulated market you would see some pump because some country don't care. But I'm talking about regulated market and larger asset where we'll see this kind of plateau, slow growth. So that's why I'm saying this is likely to be the last one where we'll see multi-fold, like multi-hundred, like hundred. So it's likely to slow down, and it is slowing down. So I have my technical reason, and I have a couple of fundamental reasons for saying that. coming back to TA. So now I think I explained this. Now, if I want to project with a condition that if let's say this level is not breached, then some kind of consolidation and then a recovery. This is our project angle. Now you're with me for long, so you know it. Angle could be here and there. That doesn't matter. So this is a happy scenario, and sad scenario would be if it is broken, then it could go down deeper. It could go up to 34K range because of this large consolidation. So if this is break above, I'll give you the next level. So that could be around 50, mid 50s, mid 50s. I'll give you more accurate number, but in mid 50s, and then we'll see. So this is enough for this week, I believe. We can look at weekly. So this has happened. So last week it was close, didn't touch. This week it touched, and we adjusted, remember? And this is, I have two arrows because I didn't want to draw one arrow indicating it's going to meet this one. I had two arrows, and this layer is kind of precision layer, right? So if it bounces from here, and I have another arrow starting from here because I don't know whether there is going to bounce. Nobody knows about it. So this arrow is below this one and this arrow above this one. That means this area is consolidation zone from a large pattern point of view, weekly pattern. So in other words, we can say if it breaks above 45,000, then chance of hitting this is higher or going up. Then, and once this is breakout, then we can say going for the higher one. I mean, I have up to 6, but I will just say 55, let's say something like that, 56, 55 kind of a level for now. And then we'll see. And this has to break this layer, which, and then we'll say, okay, in that case, it could retest 33, 34 kind of a level in that case. Worst case 32. Only if it breaks below 32K, then it will be in serious trouble. There's a lot of room. That's what I'm trying. On a weekly, there's a lot of room. There's a lot of room. This orange layer is super important. If you're someone who doesn't care about few days of movement, if you just care about whether this trend is when this trend could break, then remember this zone. It must not break 32K range, 31, 32. It must not break that. If this is broken, then it's broken. Then it's gone. Yeah, then we talk about new look. It's not, it's so far. It's so far. So why to talk about it? But since we talk about scenarios all the times, but we don't put weightage. Only two risks, as I mentioned last time, the inflation number and takes case that I don't even know. But inflation number is a bigger deal to me because it was sticky in December. And we saw, so let's look at DXY now. So look at this DXY. It is going up, right? It is going up now. So it's still going up. So if it takes this path, why I have this path is because there's, if I go at a micro level, it may move like this. So I didn't define the exact path. Maybe I can draw like this. This is what I mean. And the Bitcoin will not die even with this rise. There's some effect with some other fundamental effect from grayscale. mix effect. Hard to find out which one contributed what and all. But usually this kind of bounce doesn't affect unless it breaks above 104, 105. So Bitcoin will rally, continue rally when this, if it goes down like this, because I doubt that there is, I highly doubt there is this kind of a recovery at this moment, unless January data are pathetic inflation point of view, which will come next month. Then only there can be some. Otherwise, I think there's this is a bounce, uh, and then likely to be a downside move. Yeah, more or less the same. And then we would like this. We would like this structure to be broken. This structure is not broken. That's why, from a big picture point of view, this structure has to be broken. And we have that awareness right now. See, we are talking about probability, right? So this is not a threat level from BTC for BTC. But if it continues and try to follow this path, this then that's eventually that becomes a threat. There is no immediate threat, but we are not ignoring what is happening. We are not ignoring where it stands. The structure is not broken. We want, when this thing happen, it will really boost. So probably if this follows, then it will take us to all-time high, then some hiccups, and then when this broke up, probably then it makes a new all-time high, and then this is like new low and new high for BTC. If I had to fast forward on a longer term point of view, scenario point of view, so we can say that this phase is a phase where it has to decide where it wants to go, right? And our side is clear right now. We are weighing more on the long side because the support is not broken, which I already covered, right? But awareness point of view, we need to know that the big picture, macro picture hasn't improved yet. And silly politicians are always talk about wars, you know, and you never know, when one mistake can lead to something and then cascading effect. And so you never know about the future, and we don't need to know, to be honest. We just need to know the key levels. So anyway, the macro factors are not rosy. That's the only message I would say. We have to be watchful, vigilant. No, we don't want to be delusional. Like some people are delusional. I call them delusional. I don't mind if they don't like when they talk about very high numbers. I'll be eventually there, but I want to see this thing broken. How can I say that Bitcoin is going to hit 200K or whatever? I cannot. At the same time, I'm not going to talk about 10K or something. I cannot. So I would continue saying we are towards the long side because we had to take side. It's not that we are confused, but with a condition. So we are towards the long side, but with a condition applies, which is the best way. And whether you agree or not, eventually you will see that this approach is the best approach, at least in my experience, that you are always not worried. There is a difference. You have taken side, but you are not extreme on either side. You're not neither on the extreme high nor on the extreme low. You're saying, okay, I'll see how tomorrow comes. I'll see how next week comes. I don't care. Today is good, so everything is good. Tomorrow is bad. I'll see how bad it is, right? Day after tomorrow, if it is really bad, then I'll again see how bad it is. It is really breaching my level or not, and so on. If you go with this kind of mindset, I can bet you that you will never get frustrated or you'll never have any kind of shock, especially emotionally. You will never have a situation where you will be panicking. Only when you have extreme bias towards something, you can't see things when things change. So that's my approach, which and that's why I'm not so favorable in a way to the mass, because I don't talk about 200K or pump and all that. So people want to hear those kind of sentences from influencer or PAs. So I cannot be very popular, but that's okay. So let's look at 10-year. So 10-year is also rising, as you could see. Let me hide the drawings for a moment. It's rising, but rising is this is normal, but it is the structure is not broken, which we talked about. We would like this to be broken, and ultimately this has to be broken. And all this is going to be inflation driven, let me tell you. There's no, and this is like once when it drops so much, there's always some bounce. So I'm not concerned about this bounce, even up to 4.2, 4.3. But yeah, if it reaches to 4.9 or something, then it's a point of concern, a huge concern. Because then it will try to continue the trend. When you zoom out, look at the monthly. See, we cannot say this trend is over. We can say this is very encouraging because we never had back-to-back 2 months red candle except this. So here you could see V-shaped recovery. Yeah, this is a little different. I don't want to go technically, but too much at a detail. But this is very good news compared to. So even this is very deep. This is more troublesome, which is a good thing for crypto. So, but if it reaches to again this level, then that's bad. This is okay. This is okay. Even a little room is fine to 4.5. As I say, 4.5 plus is risky. We'll have to see that. Yeah. So essentially, this trend is not broken yet. This particular trend is not broken yet. When you look at larger picture on a 3 months, this is not broken by any mean, as you could see. And this is like 80s, 81. Since then, bonds were rallying, yields were going down, right? And this was a capitulation, ultimate crescendo, and then recovery. So if this goes back and try to reverse, then it will be a nightmare for a different market. And that's why I don't talk about crazy numbers. I cannot, because I'm aware of what is happening here. This is mother of all, by the way. Bond market is mother of all. When people talk about BlackRock, 8 trillion asset, it's all about bonds. BlackRock is all everywhere. Like they are bond guru. Okay. So the bond market is the biggest market. Bond asset is the biggest asset in the world. No asset is bigger than bond. That market, fixed income market, different names. So basically, this is very important, and this is not broken. It has to come below 3.2 and start trending down in this range. Um, then you can say it's contained. This is no good, because if this could really go up if inflation continues. So I think there are phases, and these cycles are huge. If you look at this cycle, 46, like post World War, it went up with some cycles, and then this was low interest rates. Yeah. Anyways, so this is the situation, and certain things are appeared only in a higher time frame, like larger, like this one, because their cycles are very large. Like crypto cycles are 1 2 years. This is like 40-year cycle. Can you believe that? There's no comparison. You can see this kind of a drop once in lifetime, larger than even stock cycles. Stock cycles are 30 years, 25 years, 30 years, as per my measurement. Okay. This is interesting quarterly chart. See, this is again. Let's go back. So we saw this flavor came down. We'll have to see how deep. So we talked about it. We talked about this. So BTC is done. So we'll move into altcoin. I think Nasdaq made new all-time high, by the way. A clear breakout, perfect support. Clear breakout. This pattern worked out pretty well. This is continuous pattern, a down descending channel. Oh, amazing looking chart. Yeah. Look at that. When December, so it's so consistent. Stock. So stock market is much stronger than BTC, by the way. Income, and people are crazy who compare percentage. They should not be comparing stock market with percentage. That's a crazy comparison. It's like you're comparing newborn child's growth in terms of physical growth with someone who is already at 14 years of age or 15 years of age. You cannot compare the rate at which the body is changing physical, because when the Bitcoin, as I said, mature enough 20 years age in the life cycle, I don't think it will have the same effect. Likewise, so like river example I give, when the river starts, it's always very different than what you see on a plateau like so mainland. Anyway, so people are crazy. They don't know what to compare. They compare with stock market, and this is index. You cannot even compare index. It has 50, 100 stocks. You cannot compare it. So crazy people. Um, this is stronger. Percentage doesn't matter here. It's not in. It has made new all-time high. BTC has not made new all-time high. So this is stronger. Very simple. And it is not important to compare as well. But if you have to compare, this is stronger. Right? It shows, and it is good to see that stock market is feeling. The money always goes to stock market because there is fundamental, visible fundamental, I should say. Crypto has fundamental, but more speculative and invisible, because only projects know how much they are doing, how much they're progressing, not what they're posting. They are not auditable. Especially when the ADA hit number three market cap or number three market cap. Yeah, without smart contract. That was the funniest moment I ever experienced. That a platform without smart contract reached to number three in market cap. That was my ultimate conclusion that anything can happen in this world, crypto world. So market cap is phony. Anyways, so this has come down because we know that everything came down, but it's okay. It hasn't broken the RB, so it is fine. APT we talk about. Then the Doge, oh sorry, BSV. BSV has touched this breakout level again, so it's more of a retesting, so huge range. Yeah, little strong, but the purpose of this coin is different as I mentioned. But as far as trend is concerned, trend is still good. Doge is Doge can be ignored in a way. Well, it's not attractive at this moment. I have given this path, but this could take weeks. Who knows? Unless something major announcement happens and pumps the price. Otherwise, organic growth is like this. Any major change would change something. Otherwise, this is how it is. But this is like huge bottom formation. But there's no money to be made at this level. Uh, we talked about this R3, it has hit R3. The retracement is not deep. This is tiny. I mean, this is tiny. It's not even broken R2. This is fine. I'll give you R4 later. Again, same thing, nothing like this whole entire candle is within this candle, engulfing candle, I mean, part of this range. So it's just sideways movement. That's it. And that's what I like about weekly. It gives immense clarity. Filecoin has gone down but supported. So this is little deeper. That's it. But this is also something where bottom is forming. Yeah, so nothing much, but yeah, progressing. This is a support level, and this is the pattern. So maybe if this is the bottom, then this is how it will curve and then recover. So, but if we'll have to see, there can see even if there's a spike, it still counts as this moment because we try to focus on closing. INJ flat, but very strong if you look at it. This is similar to this one, very similar. Uh, very similar. So strong, so strong. Look at this. It didn't move much. Very strong. I mean, it is 25% movement. I mean, don't. But this is like for altcoin, 25% is nothing. Oh, this is 35%. So this is medium category. Like you remember, I thought so. The Bitcoin was around 18%. We talked about, and this is 35% because this is all coin, right? So it pumps pumps and dumps more in terms of percentage. So, but 35% looks so tiny. Look at if you look at the big picture, even 35% so looks so tiny, but it's a big deal. I've been thinking about losing 35%. Just imagine. So that's why trading alt are very tricky unless you handle it differently in terms of money management and all. If someone is very aggressive and because no matter what, you are going to be stopped down 10%, 15%, then and then it bounces and then you FOMO enters and crazy thing happens. That's why it's very difficult to trade altcoin. KS is just consolidating below support, which is resistance now. So okay now. Link is now recovering, as you can see, bouncing, looking good, much better. So it's trying to break out. So if not this week, it's like next week it should try. Good thing is we got two back-to-back green candle, weekly green, which is very positive. So it could end consolidation. Matic, this is like stuck in sand kind of coin. I mean, it has lost its charm, to be honest. I don't want to conclude it, but it's not the same coin as we saw because I can understand not participating for a few months, but there's something wrong. I don't know. I'm not a fundamental guy, but there is something wrong with Matic. As far as see, larger picture is still good, but I didn't like the way it is behaving because if it is really scalable platform, making things faster, compatible with Ethereum and so on, it should have gone up. Like look at INJ and some of the points uh, which we have. Like this is not trending. This is stuck. So there's no price action for last 1.5 year. If you think about it, it's stuck. July 2022, and it's still close to 2 years now. It will be so there's nothing to gain in last year and a half. If somebody's holding Matic. think about it. Yep. And if
Yep. And if
oh,
oh,
yeah. And another way to look at it, it's also not something which gone down 90% like other coins. So that's very interesting. But yeah, after R2, we will be interested because after R2, we have to see how it breaks out in terms of pace because this consolidation there was this consolidation I remember was also very frustrating and very long. But when it broke out, it was wow, it was out of the world. So, but I'm not a person who assume things. I want to see it happening. I don't assume because so I have seen it. People and nothing wrong in comparing. I do compare, but I'm not in illusion. I'm not someone who will buy in hope of that thing. So there is a difference. I can see that there is a relation, there's a consolidation and a huge breakout, and I see that. That's why I put a box here, and there can be a huge breakout. But I want to see that happen, and I don't assume. That's another thing. Again, not financial advice. I would say, I mean, again, this is my own style. You have to see the coin is doing well for you to put money in. You cannot put money and assume that coin will do well. There are two different things. So I'm on the first, where I want to see the coin is doing well, then I put money. But so many people I have seen that they put money and then assume or expect that now it will pump one day. And I see frustration in Filecoin and frustration in some other coin. I see one of the members, not to point out anyone, but mentioned that I'm stuck in Filecoin. So this is very common across it's not about that person. It's very common. They assume based on news and some development, and the news are the ultimate source for most of the people. And they buy the story basically and then buy the coin. Buy the story, buy the news, and then they assume things and they keep waiting. And some coins have moved up by six times, 8 times, like we saw ING. Look at this coin. Look at this coin. Look at this. Unstoppable. Next RNDR is also like this. Look at this. There was some big consolidation, but look at this. It's trending. Even now, it's like second weekly green after retesting this. So it wants to go up, right? So amazing. Look at the RUNE. It has retested the R2, which I mentioned. It could, which is not a big deal. Look at this trending, right? Where it was like 0.9 and then 7, 8, 8, 8. So it's 8 times move, and then some correction. Totally acceptable. But this is called trending coin. So I'm trying to. So we have mix of both because the coin which are consolidating eventually they could break out, and we have mixed bag basically. We try to see which one. Look at SOL. Amazing, amazing, huge consolidation. So this coin is worthless in terms of gains over here. But when it starts making move, break out, and then let's look at this one. Amazing. 4 times in a very short time. 4x. And this drop is also not so bad. So yeah, it's consolidating and we put a box so for a reason. So let it consolidate. As long as it doesn't break below R5, there's nothing to worry from a technical point of view. Correct. So this is a trending coin. TI is a trending coin. Look at this coin. Unstoppable coin. It has retested R3, which is support. So I like it. Let's look at 3D because it doesn't have enough history. So look at this: hit, support, breakout, consolidation, breakout, retest, retest, hit, breakout, retest. You seeing what I'm saying? I hope you're able to follow me. Now, if this is not broken, then this only if this is R2 is broken, then it's a bad thing. So when you deal with altcoin, first of all, you have to be realistic in terms of your expectation, and you have to understand how things work. These are a few messages. Yeah. Otherwise, BTC is slower, that is better. But when you go with altcoin, it comes with baggage. And without understanding, it could hurt more than help. So we need, but once you understand how they work, it's important, then it's all right. Yeah. So that's it. Then I think we covered everything. So we can sum up here. See you next week. I hope the grayscale sell-off is contained by some buyers. And I think there are some buyers, otherwise market would have crashed. The sell-off continues, and because I hope they reduce fees. If they reduce fees, then probably it will help. I don't know. But yeah, I think we'll come to next week. So far so good. There's nothing. It's on edge, as I said, on BTC side, it's on edge, but last day's bounce was encouraging of this support, so improving. So I'll end here. See you next week. Thanks everyone.